Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. If you ever wanted to know if airbrush paints could be used for something else than airbrush, scissors, you're welcome. This video will probably answer the question if the acrylic Vallejo Shifters will work with other things than an airbrush, because I do not own one. So, first things first, swatches. I found this color on the hunt for cheap airbrush paints for tabletop gaming, because I'm right back into card orderings. If you don't know this, card ordering is, or card alters is when you have a card, a playing card like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and you alter the appearance, like add something, make the whole card something different, paint over it, or do whatever you want, even cutting the art out of it and using it for something else. And my normal acrylics are not really good for that matter. I mean, the shiny surface is mostly the problem. So I was searching for some nice colors that I could use to be a bit more efficient, because my normal steps are using gesso. I have white and black, gessoing the things I want to paint on, and then layering and layering and layering the paint on. You could also first prime it with varnish, so it's more easy, but that makes the card more thick, and I like the 3D effect, but try to not make it the prominent point. So I was searching through various shops and sellers and came across Vallejo Magic Dust, Galaxy Dust, and I forgot the name of the other one. Space Dust, which are color shifting paints. The problem is I'm a color shifting pigment, pearlescent, iridescent color nerd, so I own a lot of paints that are called effect paints in various different versions. I have pigments, I have glitters, I have flakes, I have watercolor. I wanted acrylic paint for a long time to use on my paintings that are bigger, because watercolor is more for tiny pieces, in my opinion. I work with tiny pieces in watercolor. And acrylics are more like a big painting, and I could use an acrylic base with the watercolor to make it acrylic. But if I would have acrylic paint that is already created, I would not need to do that. So I saw them and I was shocked. The price. For 6 bottles, 24 euros. I was like, 3 times the price for 1 bottle? Like 3 euros for 1 bottle? This tiny bottle that you use an airbrush? I don't have an airbrush. So I started googling. Can you use airbrush paint with brush? Of course you can, why wouldn't you? Also googled the paint and I found some reviews of it, but they were a bit older and you could not see what I wanted to see. So I said to myself, okay, I need that. I need to know if they work for my purpose. So I made a list. The list is lying beside me, and I have some questions I asked myself. First, can you use it on normal paper? We're seeing right now the swatches, so the answer is definitely yes. The next question is, can you use it on the magic card? I have a test magic card that is like trash right now, so I use it for the tests. Can you use it mixed with acrylic base or even resin? Can you use it on clay with gesso or without gesso? And in the end, 2 other things that most likely not everyone wants to know, like can you use it on your nail as nail polish, and can you use it on textiles, like textile paint. Textile acrylics need to have a different consistency than normal acrylics, they will break, of the textile, so being able to know if you can use them as they are on textiles is very interesting. Right now you're seeing swatches. I make two versions, a normal big drop from the bottle and a diluted one into a little water bubble. That is to see if there's a difference if you make a thick coat or a thin coat. Most likely cheap paints that way will break up their pigments in the water and will not work like they should. But I have to be honest, those are the most beautiful if they're diluted and really subtle. You sadly can't really see it on camera. Later I will show some videos of me trying to show the effect, but it's kind of working, but you have to look for it. And the moment I saw the effect, I was flabbergasted. Yes, we're coming to the end from swatches and go over to a next step that I was asking myself, that was an important step, because you maybe don't have the color you want to have. Can you mix them? Can you make them in a different color combination? Let them turn to something different. The answer is yes and no. They will still shift, but the pigments sometimes, if they're on the opposite side of the color wheel, will even themselves out, and you won't see the effect really well. Here I'm making a test of every single color of the Shifters series to find out what the common demeanor is, and see what the end result is with the less, or better to say, most dominant color in the end. And yeah. So this is basically mixing all my shifter paints and seeing what color comes out. It's really gorgeous, so I have to say that. One problem you will have though on paper are those bubbles. They are hard to pop, and I would recommend pouring it into a mixing tablet or something like that and work with this. So yes, this is the end result. Really weird paint. Don't really know what you would call the color. I tried to see for myself, but yeah, under the slate it's not good. Yes, is it possible to alter a cut with them? I used two ways of gesso, a thin gesso and a big gesso, a thick gesso in white and black, and on one space I also used it without gesso, and I have to say it's extremely good. You do not need the varnish afterwards. This thing is not going anywhere. If it's dry, it will stay. It doesn't matter if you use the bare card or varnish. I mean, the card is varnished, so it will stay even better, but it stays where it is. It's, of course, translucent, but it's a shifter paint, so that's what we thought. Yes, does it work with acrylic medium or even resin? It's acrylic, so I don't know why I tested acrylic medium, but sometimes you want to have something 3D, so you can use that. And yes, they work. Definitely, you can mix them, there's no weird things happening. And also, the resin is UV resin, and the answer is yes, you can mix them with UV resin, but both things will not dry. They will stay sticky, especially with the resin. It was hard, but turned back sticky, which is really weird, but yeah. So resin, maybe coat on top and it will work, but both will stay sticky if you don't varnish it in the end. Does it work with clay? I baked 4 round things for 4 different tests. One, the left is white gesso, right is black gesso. I make a big spot, a big dark make a thick spot, and use water to dilute it on the edges, on the round parts, so it's spread out on the sides. On top I try to let it be thick, on the sides it's thin and diluted. And you will probably see, yes, black is the better idea most of the times. Now I'm using the 2 left balls to test if no gesso is okay and you see an effect. And also on the other wall I try to see if mixing on clay is working like it should be, and yeah, it's working, definitely. You still can see it, but the question is if you should do it that way. Can you paint your nails with the paint? I coated my thumbnails black and used the base black with green and yellow, reddish shifts. Sadly, you can't really see it on camera. I'm staring at them right now. They're still on my finger. I put a top coat on top of it, of course, but I have to say, if you don't care that it would kind of look weird, they're amazing. Yeah, and lastly, textile paint. The short answer is yes. They're flexible, you won't rub the pigment off, it's amazing, it's beautiful, but it's wet on the other side, it's not thick, it's not opaque, so I don't know if you want to do it on its own. You should probably mix it. So, what is the end result? If you would look at those colors, you just stare at one and see the subtle shift in paint. It's amazing. I only saw it while ducking under my table because I had to pick something up, and I saw the change and I'm like, oh my god, they are working. The thing is, I don't know if you should buy them, because they're a special niche and they're expensive. On the other hand, there are a lot of paints out there that are expensive, so you have to decide if you say it's worth it. I personally say every effect paint is worth it. So if you want to buy them, do it. There are cheap shop sellers, whatever out there that will not say like give me 40 euros or something like that. So I'm sorry, I'm staring at this and I'm like, wow. For me, it's worth it. I will use them. I have still my watercolors for watercolor painting that are shifting, and now I have acrylics, and I'm happy. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helped you in any way answering the questions. Can I use the airbrush color without an airbrush? That is the end. Also, the answer is most likely yes. Most of the times, because it's liquid acrylics. But the video was fun. Thank you for watching.